Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking about the Sony XZ1 Compact, and this is gonna be my review. Hope you enjoy. What's up, boys and girls? My name is Ben Gemfield. Hope you're having a smashing day. If this is your first time to the channel, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. For the rest of you, thank you for joining me once again. So I made a video a couple of weeks ago that it was all about, the top features of the XZ Compact and why I got it. Being an iPhone user, I still felt that this thing is mind-blowing, even though it's very old. I mean, it's not very old, it's not ancient or anything, but it's definitely a couple of years old. So I wanted to test it out, play with it, fiddle with it, and I really liked the fact that it was very small, so that's why I got the compact size. And I think that the biggest feature about it that I was mostly interested about is that I read an article that basically said that once this gets an update on the Android side of things, this bad boy will be able to shoot in 1080p in 960 frames per second, which is better than the latest Samsung devices, which is better than any flagship device on the market, which made me really interested because basically this thing takes the best slow motion on the market. I mean, aside from newer Sony models. So, first of all, before I get into it, I really wanted to talk about the fact that this review, it's not the kind of a review when I do these, B-rolls and show you quick clips of stuff, slow pannings of my smartphone and samples, stuff like that. This is going to be like just my personal thoughts, what I felt about it. I've written down some points about what I liked, what I didn't like about it, and that's what this review is going to be all about. And for people who are just interested in watching a really long commercial of this smartphone, this is not the video for you. I'm sorry, but this is the way I do my videos. Some people might say they're very boring, but that's the way I do things. So let's just jump right into it. So design-wise, I really enjoy the sleekness of it. I like it that it's sort of like, it doesn't have any bumps. There is no camera bump. It's very streamlined, and I really like that. I really, really do. But the one thing that I don't like is, unfortunately, it's not that comfortable to hold in your hands because of these rough edges. Like, if that's gonna be problem for you, then you could get the XZ2 compact, which has rounded edges, and that's not going to be a problem. Or if you just put on a skin on this thing or a case, like it's not going to be a problem, I think. But for me personally, I've been using it without a case for these last couple of weeks, and I have to say, like, it hasn't been enjoyable to hold it because they feel kind of rough on your hands compared to the rounded edges on my iPhone, So definitely something that I picked up on, something I just didn't like. But again, if I was gonna switch over to use nothing but this, I would just get a case and, not a problem. Build quality, like, this is plastic, but seriously, it feels really solid. There is no fingerprints on it. Like, it doesn't, it's not a fingerprint magnet like these glass backs on the iPhones or the Galaxy S's or whatnot. So it doesn't have wireless charging, but I'll be honest, like, I'm not a huge fan of wireless charging. I mean, I've tested it recently, actually. A company sent me a fast charge, and I tested it and I played with it, and was good. It was fast. I was surprised, actually, but it doesn't win me over in terms of like the idea that I have to have a glass back. I don't like the idea of a glass back. It's nice, it feels good, but it's not very durable to basically have glass on all sides. So I kind of like the fact that this one has no glass back. I really like that. So design-wise, build quality, I really like it, but again, these rough edges, like, they're a bit of a problem. So let's talk about the screen. Now, this is not some OLED 2.5K display, definitely not. It's 720p. But I gotta be honest, like switching between this one and this one, I haven't actually noticed any hiccups. Like my eyes haven't been like, oh, I see pixels. Like I don't see pixels on a 720p display this small. I know that there are people who can like look at a display on a smartphone and go like, yeah, I can definitely tell it's 720p. If you're looking for it, obviously you will see that it's 720p, but other than that, like everything looks great on this screen. I don't think it's a big thing, and also I think it saves energy and performance if the display isn't, you know, that high res. So I don't have any problems with it. The only thing that really bothers me, and I think this is more of a software thing, and I think this is perhaps something that is seen on all Android devices. You can let me know in the comments section if this is true, because I don't have that much experience with Android devices. Is when I look at my photo albums and I scroll through my pictures, it like feels like at first you get like a low res picture and then you like wait for a whole second and then the full res picture is shown, and it bothers me a little bit. You know, I like scrolling through pictures quite fast and I go like, oh, that's a bad picture, and then a second later like, oh, it's actually good. And on the iPhone there is like a microsecond of delay between the low res picture and the high res picture, but this one is a bit too slow. But again, I have a sneaky suspicion that this is an Android issue. It's not so much of an Sony XZ1 issue. But again, let me know in the comment section below how it is if you have more experience with Android devices than I do. Let's see what else. Okay, so the screen, like I like the screen. It looks good in daylight, sunlight, indoors. It's bright. You can adjust it. Like no complaints about the screen whatsoever. Again, like it's really good. I like it. It's 4.6 inches and it's a kind of tiny compared to, you know, 5.5, but I could definitely go for this. And the bezels are very small, bottom and top, like it's still a lot better than having an ugly notch or like a little hole like in the Galaxy S10. I just don't get who would want that, but that's just me personally. Okay, so the performance on this thing, again, everything is software. I'm gonna go with Chris Pearl on this one. Like everything is software. If you have the right software, it doesn't really matter how fast the CPU is. Now this is just a Snapdragon 835, I think, and I think it's snappy. I haven't noticed any hiccups. I've used like, you know, regular social media apps, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and my experience has been on the Android side of things pretty good. It's not as fluid and smooth as iPhone, but again, I think this is more of a software thing. But I mean, performance-wise, comparing this to other Android devices, which again, I'm saying I'm not that experienced with Android devices, I'd say this felt pretty snappy and fast compared to my iPhone. I felt it was pretty good. No complaints considering it's so old and everything. So I really like that. Okay, and now for the best part, the camera. This is the favorite part. This is the main reason why I got it. So let's start off with the back camera. Now it shoots in 4K, takes pictures in 90 megapixels. So as far as picture quality goes, I gotta say it's not bad, but it's definitely not as good as my iPhone. I'm sorry, like that's, you can do comparison shots and videos and people have different opinions. It's not so, I can't really put my finger on what it is. It just feels like the pictures that I take with this phone, they sort of feel bleak, you know? They're full of detail because it's 90 megapixels and low light shots are pretty okay, I guess. I mean, I to be honest, like I don't think any smartphone takes good low light pictures, and those that take better pictures, it's more like a software thing. I mean, there is a technical boundary here, and that's like the sensor is like really tiny. So picture wise, I wouldn't say this is the best smartphone I've ever tested, unfortunately. It's not bad, really. Like I think for most people, I think it's quite adequate. I could definitely live with this camera, don't get me wrong, because I'm just saying that pictures look a little lifeless, but you could definitely make the colors pop a bit more. So no problems there. Now, this is a really pleasant surprise. recording in 4K, this is the first time that I've seen an Android device that shoots 4K, no limit, no 20-minute limit or anything like that. I could shoot like for 30 minutes and then I was like, okay, this thing is definitely approved as far as my standard goes, because for years I've been complaining that my iPhones can record unlimited 4K and Android devices just can't do it. They have a limit, or they have that damn 4 gigabyte boundary, and this one actually saves bigger files than 4 gigabytes. I think that the biggest file I've made was like 10 gigabytes or something, so definitely approved in my standard. Now there is also a bit of it's an electronical stabilization system on this thing. I don't think it's optical. No, it's definitely not optical, but it's very, very good. And especially if you turn off the 4K and just shoot 1080p, the stabilization on this thing is actually brutally good. It's almost as good as my GoPro, which is hands down the best video recording stabilization I've ever seen. And this is not as good, but it's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of wobbly. Like if you see samples, it is very wobbly. If you'd like me to make a video where I just show you a lot of samples, just let me know in the comment section below and I'll do one of those. But I just gotta say, like, the stabilization is really good, especially if you're vlogging. And this works even for the selfie camera. And speaking of the selfie camera, you can switch between wide angle and regular angle. And I think that's like just a crop-in thing. It probably is a wide angle lens. You can sort of see that the lens is kind of big up here. So I think this is a wide angle lens, and then they just crop it when you have a regular size. But what's really cool is that it shoots in 1080p. Which I know if you compare to like the S10 shoots in 4K in a front-facing camera, but I actually happen to think that the 1080p wide-angle recording is pretty damn good. I like it, and it's wide and it's excellent for vlogging, really excellent. And also I gotta mention that the recording audio quality is actually pretty good. I'd even say it's even better than my iPhone 8 Plus, which was a bit of a shocker actually, considering this one is older. But again, you gotta keep in mind that this is made by Sony. Sony knows their stuff. You know, they develop a lot of sensors for other brands and stuff like that. So they definitely know what they're doing. Moving along. So the camera has this really cool feature called 3D scanner, and you can scan faces and objects. And then you can just send it away to like a 3D printing company, and they will basically send you, I mean, you could basically make a toy model of your face or your cat or something. And the image quality, I mean, it's remarkable, the technology that you have in this thing, that you can take a 3D picture of something and you can do really fun stuff with it. And I was like seriously shocked how good it looked. I was very surprised. And I haven't sent it to a printer yet, but I definitely will. It's a fabulous picture processing device. And also there is this thing where you can just send the 3D model to Sony and they'll like improve it, and then you get it back like after 15 minutes and it looks a lot better. So it's not just a gimmick. I mean, technically it is a gimmick, but it feels like a really cool gimmick, and I'm really happy it is there. Like really nice. What else? Okay, so it's got these two speakers, one on the bottom, one on the front, and it's stereo, and I really like the loudness of it. It's very clear, very nice on the speakers. And as I mentioned before in the past video I did on this, the price is really, really cool. Oh, damn it, I forgot to mention the slow motion on the camera part. So, I mean, it doesn't really matter because the slow motion part is so important and so big that you can basically say that this is on its own as much as an improvement as anything else. So when I got this thing, it did not have the latest Android version, and I had to wait for the update. But I knew that when I would get the update, I would be able to shoot in 1080p slow motion, not 720p, but 1080p, 960 frames per second. And I got the update, but up until that moment, I was in my head, I was thinking like, oh, it's probably just, you know, upscaling or something like that. But you know what? No, you can do both 720p and 1080p, and you can compare the shots. And let me tell you, it's really 1080p, and it's not a gimmick. It really is not upscaled or softening. It's 960 FPS. I've made videos of rain, snow, snowboarders. It looks really cool. And again, as I mentioned, if you want me to make like a montage of slow motion vids, just let me know in the comment section. I'll definitely do that. So the slow motion part was the main reason why I got it. For the price at the time, I could get it for about $200, and I was like really pleasantly surprised. And even the 720p, even if it did have 1080p slow motion, if it only had 720p, it's still very good, because that's like what the latest flagship devices have, 960 FPS in 720p. But now this thing can record 1080p in slow motion. So for someone like me, and I compared it to my iPhone, which shoots 1080p and 240 frames per second. Gotta say that the image quality is better on this thing, but you also have to keep in mind that when it takes that many frames, like almost 1,000 frames on this one, and this one 240 frames per second, you gotta also consider that it doesn't have a lot of time to take in light. So it would make sense why this one doesn't shoot as high quality in slow motion. But as I said, like, I'm super pleased with this, and I will be using it a lot when summer comes. Okay, software. I just wanted to mention a few things. So it's not like stock Android. It's got a couple of Sony software, but the software that you get from Sony is actually pretty handy. For one thing, you get like a video editor, which if you're doing vlogs or editing videos on your smartphone, like, there is no really good iMovie app on Android. The best I've tested is Cyberlink Power Director, but you have to pay for that one, something like $10. And here you get like a built-in video editor, and it's really good. And other Sony software that you get is also pretty handy and good, and most of it you can just remove, no problem. But again, it's fast. As far as I can tell, this is a very fast Android device. So what I don't like, a couple of things. As I mentioned, first, the sharp edges. Another thing is that it has no fast charging ability. I love the fact that it's USB-C, which is really nice, because it's becoming a really nice standard, in my opinion, and a lot of others. So I really like that. Also, one thing that I did not like, I should also mention that the fingerprint scanner is really, really good. Like, it's on the side here, and it's a good location, first of all, and it's really fast to just, it doesn't fail at all. Like, I would say this is probably even better than on my iPhone, which sometimes fails when you have like sweaty fingers. This one is actually pretty good, and it's really fast. I think it's an excellent position for a fingerprint scanner. I much more prefer it here than on the back, which I think that they, in the XZ2 model, it's actually on the back, which is kind of sad, I think, because this is a good location for it. But it also has a dedicated camera shutter button, which you can like half press, which I miss, because it used to be very popular back in the day, like, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, where you had a dedicated button for the camera, and now you cannot see it on flagship devices. And on this one, it's still here. So I really like this, and I used it a lot when I was taking pictures. And what I also like about it is when you have it turned off, you can press it, and boom, camera mode instantly. Really like that. And of course you can take pictures, and again, you can half press on stuff and it will focus on the subject at hand. So I really like that. But there is also a problem with having the fingerprint scanner here and the shutter button here, and it's that this is more of a phone for right-handed people. And unfortunately, I'm a left-handed person. So this works. and I can unlock it with my pointing finger, no problem. I would prefer to unlock it with my thumb. So what I've done is basically I've adjusted to this phone and using my right hand, but I would have preferred to use my left because I'm a lefty. And also the software is definitely not for left-handed people. For instance, the camera app, when you have it in landscape mode, and you have it like this, as if you were right-handed, then all the icons and everything is looking good. But when you turn it, or when you flip it, the icons don't flip, which is weird because the video still turns up in the right position, but everything else just looks upside down. So that's weird. And I was thinking when the new update would come out, they would fix this issue, but apparently not enough left-handed people have complained. So I don't know, maybe that's why they moved the fingerprint scanner to the back, because 10% of the population, the left-handed people, did complain. I don't know, maybe. So what else? No, I mean, you know, I love the fact that this is a very neat package. It's not expensive. It's really good quality for this price. It feels really premium. And if I could just change one single thing, seriously, like I wouldn't improve the camera. I wouldn't improve, you know, fast charging or even the right-handed issue, you know, being lefty and everything. But it would actually be these rough edges. That would be my biggest complaint, because you can tell that if I'm holding it like this, it will definitely hurt my soft hands. Yeah, I have soft hands. It won't cut me up like butter, but I'm just saying, like, they could have made these edges a lot softer. This looks very nice, very premium and stuff like that, but the design of this thing is not very, it doesn't feel good. That's the way it is. So I know this review was very long and probably very boring, and most of you probably could not stomach to sit through this entire review. But for those of you who did, thank you. And yeah, those are my thoughts on the Sony XZ1 Compact. This is my review. And again, if you want me to demonstrate something else like picture samples or slow motion samples, just let me know in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to do that for you. That was it. That was really it for me. Catch you in the next one. Take care.
Okay, that was it. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, see that like button, smash it. And I got some freakishly awesome videos coming up. Better subscribe so you don't miss a beat. I'll see you later. Peace.